Good evening, good evening, good evening. How you guys doing out there? This Mike Melton back with From Pain to Purpose podcast, episode 26. I got a brothers on tonight that was on my B-Ball Spotlight podcast a couple years ago, and he's back to give us an update on what's going on in his life, man. One of the best stories that I ever had on my podcast is my brother Rodney Wescott. I knew Rodney from years during my basketball journeys, and now he's on the podcast From Pain to Purpose. So, what's up, Rod? How you doing, brother?
I am great, man. I'm great. How you doing? I'm glad to be on here, as
I
always.
appreciate it, brother. Um, I'm doing good, man. I was going through some things, but it got straightened out today and everything, and the Most High is has blessed the situation, and it feels good to be actually um living in His purpose, man. Like for real. Like the other day, I was in class and um some of the kids were sharing about some vulnerable moments in their life and where they at now, and it almost brought me to tears because I'm living in my purpose, and the Most High is allowing the Spirit to work through me. And and I remember thinking about killing myself, and I wouldn't have been here doing this now.
hmm
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that, so that you know how it is when you had those moments.
yes. I've had them. I
Yeah,
I like to
yeah.
tell I like to tell people when I first woke up from the
Uh huh.
coma,
Uh huh.
I couldn't move anything from my shoulders down.
Mm-hmm.
So I go from being normal
Mm-hmm.
to waking up and not being able to function at all.
Mm. Hold on
And
1 second. 1 second. Take us all the way back for people who didn't see you on my first on B-Ball Spotlight podcast a couple years ago. Take us back to what happened that resulted to you getting in a coma.
okay, and 2020, if everybody knows, COVID was running rampant
Mm-hmm.
around, and I on my birthday I had a party. My daughter gave me a party, a surprise
Mm-hmm.
party. So I mean, the party was absolutely the best party I've ever had. It was amazing,
Wow. Uh-huh.
amazing party, right? So we were eating, and everybody had masks on. So there was a time where we stopped and we were going to talk again.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed up. My daughter was sitting on my left. I grabbed the mask and put the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you had that split second and say, "This don't really feel like my mask."
What you just had on.
Right. So I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
this was
yeah.
my exact words. I said, "What's the chances?" I
Mm.
put the mask on. Didn't feel anything. 2 days later, my daughter called me and says, "Dad, I got COVID."
Mm.
So I told my wife, I says, "Listen, I got COVID." She says, "Why? Why you think that?" I says, "I'm almost positive I put Asha. My daughter's name is Asha. I put Asha's mask on."
Mm-hmm.
So that was on a Tuesday. By Friday, I started feeling symptoms,
Mm.
but I still worked. I worked, came home and says, "Listen, I'm gonna stay away. I'm gonna go in the house and get better, try to get better." So I didn't feel bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started developing a fever. I think by Sunday, wasn't anything major though. Nothing that alarmed me at all. I mean, I wasn't alarmed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I said, I think this was Monday. I said, "Man, I'm hot." I was telling my wife. I said, "I'm gonna take a shower, a cold shower." Took a cold shower. That was the last thing I remember.
Mm.
This is the last thing I remember. Next thing I remember, I was in the hospital. Bunch of doctors around me they're trying to wake me up, and they were saying some things to me, asking me questions and stuff. And I was like, where am I? Where am I? What happened? And they said, you fell out. What had happened was my wife found me on the side of the bed, gasping for air. So if it wasn't for my wife waking up and seeing me, I would have just died right there.
Wow, brother.
And when they got me, my oxygen, and all the people that understand oxygen know that under 90, your oxygen is bad and you can
Yeah.
die around 80 to 75. My oxygen was at 35.
Whoa.
So they gave me oxygen and they said, listen, Mr. Wescott, we got to keep you a little bit. I thought I was only going to be there a couple of days. I called my vendors and all, and I said, listen, I'll be out probably until Monday. I'm that's the way I'm talking. And I was in a unit where the really bad COVID victims were. So I'm looking like every day people are dying. Like
Whoa.
5, 6 people are dying. That looked normal. We couldn't talk to each other, but we could see each other. And one day I said, because I refused to go on the ventilator. I said, because at that time it was a 13% chance that you survive on the ventilator. So I said, no, I'm not going to go on the ventilator. So I said, listen, this is when it got different for me. I said, I'm seeing all these people dying. Where was I in terms of how bad is mine in comparison to most of the people in here? The nurse said, be honest with you, Mr. Wescott, you're the worst one we've seen. He says, we haven't seen anybody like you.
Wow.
Since your oxygen was so low and you're at 100% assistance on your lungs. And I says, so what does that mean to you? He says, it's not good. He says, why do you think you're next to the nursing station? I said, I just thought it was room. He says, because you need help instantly. So that took me to another level because it was getting serious. I never felt bad. I never felt bad. But that news made me I was like, the end is coming,
Wow.
And people say it, but when you really think it's coming and you can't do anything about it, man, that is a sad, sad time.
What
Sad. I
what
wouldn't
type of
talk.
things what type of things was going through your mind?
First of all, you think of your family. You think of time. You just want time. Like, I'm gonna miss my daughter was about to graduate from college. And this is November and she's graduating in May. I'm gonna miss that. I didn't have any grandchildren. I still don't. I'm gonna miss that. All the things that I'm gonna miss are coming up, you know, and it's nothing you can do. There was absolutely nothing that could be done. And they were telling me for the most part that it's coming. It's coming. So one of the nurses, we developed a really good friendship. And he was like, listen, Mr. Wescott, won't you call your family and have that conversation with whoever you need to talk to, say what you need to say. So I says, that's what I was doing. until it got to me so bad I stopped talking to any and everybody. I just stopped communicating because I didn't want my family to see me in a bad way. And I was in a real bad way, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I wanted them that last time they see me to be regular, especially my daughter that actually gave it to me. I didn't want her to carry that burden of no matter what I may say, she thinks that I'm the reason. I mean, she's the reason that I'm in the situation that I'm in today.
Facts.
So that was probably the toughest part for me. And it got to the 10th day, and it was like a little wire that was hanging. They used to prone me. Proning is turning me over from time to time on my stomach and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Because you actually breathe better when you're on your stomach. So they turned me over, and I pulled this wire, tried to put it back in. Now everything is going haywire. All the doctors come over. Doctors came over to me and says, listen, Mr. Wescott. Now this is the 10th day. Says, why don't you just call your wife, talk to her, because he was trying to tell me that is it. This is it.
Wow.
So I says, how much time do I have? He says, about 15 minutes. So I was like, man, my wife got on the screen and said my goodbyes, everybody else. And they didn't tell me that they were putting me under. So I just went under. So the next 50 days, it was my family that was taking over this. My family, and this goes to like support, family support. My family was unbelievable because their main objective was they wanted the doctors to see me as an individual, not as number whatever. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So they would send stuff, send pictures, send videos, all kinds of stuff throughout. And I was out. So around the 20th or 15th day, something like I'm not sure exactly. My wife has all this stuff written down. And they were saying, they called my family and says, listen, it's a wrap. He ain't gonna make it overnight. You know, my wife could come down to see me for the last time. She came down, um, prayed, spoke life, stayed an hour or two, something like that. So she left and she figured that was it. I was saying goodbye to my husband. So I survived that night. So they called back and just imagine a family waiting
Mm-hmm.
for that call. You know what I
Facts.
mean? Every time the phone rings, you think that's the call, you know? So I made it through that night. So it was the second day. He said, listen, you can come down again if you want. Let my daughter come down. My daughter, the one that I actually got it from, she came and spoke life to me, prayed, da da da. It was beautiful, actually, the way you hear it.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
she actually made a video, and and she left. So what happened? And like I survived another night, and a nurse came in. Those trays that they have with all those instruments on it.
Mm-hmm.
She came and tripped, and the tray went over. And when the tray hit the ground, it startled me, and my eyes opened up.
Wow.
My eyes opened up for a little while, and I just went back under. So that gave them incentive to do different things because they were just letting me die at that point.
Look at God, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was in that state for about 50 days. About 50 days. And I always say I woke up January 13th because that's the first day I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So when I woke up, like I was saying initially, I woke up and I just started looking around. I didn't know that I was in a coma. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I thought I was just sleeping for 8 hours or whatever. So when I woke up, I'm just looking around and I can't talk, but I don't know that. I don't know I can't talk. So I'm actually mouthing like I'm talking, but nobody can hear me. And it's
Mm-hmm.
frustrating me. So I didn't even know I couldn't move until I tried to scratch like my face and I couldn't. I couldn't move. And I'm like, what's wrong? Am I tied down or something? So I'm trying to move anything. I can't move anything from my shoulders down. And I'm like, what is going on? I thought I was maybe in an accident or something like that. And I don't remember,
Mm-hmm.
because my wife is a questionable driver. So 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 I instantly blamed it on that. I said she must have been in an accident. And but they never told me that I was in a coma or anything. They never told me that until I talked to my wife and I was like, what's wrong with me? I says, I can't move. I can't. They put this thing in my throat because I had a hole in my throat,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know.
Wow.
I kept saying, I'm just glad they ain't put me on the ventilator. And the ventilator is right on my back.
Mm.
I didn't even know, So that situation right there was the first time I thought about ending it all. I
Mm.
says, I don't want to live like this. You know, when you think, man, I'm gonna have to stay like this forever. I says, no. And the sad part about it was I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even raise my hand or anything
To
because I
kill
said I was
yourself.
going to pull the plug or something.
Mm.
I couldn't even do it, you know. And that was the beginning of my change, my perspective in life change. You
And what
know,
and what perspective did that go to?
that was the first time I thought about living and loving and appreciating
Mm.
like the littlest of things. You know what I mean? That I could never even go there before that happened. Like the sun. I was in a room for almost 3 months. I never saw the sun. Never
Mm.
saw anything. It was just no windows or anything. I was just sitting, just laying there. 24 hours is long, man.
Wow.
Just just thinking about life and where's all this going to go? You
Give
know,
me some of the positive thoughts you had and some of the regrets about your life that you had, if you don't mind sharing.
well, some of my regrets that I thought about
Mm-hmm.
was understanding that I wasn't ready for that moment.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I like you say what you want, but in taking and being accountable for what happened to me. Like I wasn't in the best shape and I always
Mm.
talked about it. You know what I mean? I know that had something to do with it attacking me and being successful. You know
Mm.
what I mean? That had something to do with it. So when I started thinking of it like that, it kind of made it easier.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I put it in my hand and God. I said, this must be God's way of waking me up. You know
All
what I mean?
praises.
Like,
All praises. Yeah.
like pay attention more to your wife, you know, the beauty and the relationships that we have, you know what I mean? That I just let go from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And just the beauty of my family, you know, how supportive they are and, you know, how loving they are and how I should love them back. You know, I never even thought about stuff like that.
Did
Yeah.
you? Because I know when I went through, when I lost my first wife, one of the instant regrets that I had was, and by the grace of God, like you didn't go away, you still here. But in that moment when you thinking that this possibly could happen, one of the one of the eye opening moments for me was thinking about all the weekends I left her for basketball.
I thought about that. I thought
and,
about
and
that.
being able to have those weekends back. You get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because
I thought
we put
actually
so much into that. You know what I mean? And then when you in
yes.
this situation, you like,
For
damn,
what? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
You like
yeah,
and I always said, and they don't even appreciate it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm taking time away from my family. I got a beautiful wife,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm leaving them for people in reality don't really care about me.
Facts.
I'm putting
Facts.
money, I'm putting and most of all, I'm putting my time
Mm-hmm.
in my family's time. I'm sharing my time with them, and I'm not saying the kids. It's mostly the parents,
Facts.
you
Facts.
know, because the kids work off of what the parents are thinking. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're doing me a favor.
Yeah, because my son that good that you
Yeah,
looking to have
you know
more
what I mean.
kids.
They think they doing me a favor. I'm
Facts.
like,
Facts.
but
Facts.
that was, but I didn't regret it
Uh-huh.
because of the reason that I started. I just wanted to spend time with my nephews.
I
You know
remember
what I
that.
mean?
I remember that.
That
I
was
remember
the reason why I started. I wanted to get closer with them, Henry and Montrell,
that. Mm-hmm.
and I did. I did
Mm-hmm.
exactly that. But but like I said, man, my perspective in life just really, really changed, and because now you're looking at small things that you appreciate, that you really
Mm.
appreciate. Like if somebody called and said thank you,
Wow.
you know, you smile and like, or if you know they really appreciate you, or if it's a nice day, like a beautiful day. I remember when they moved me to a room with a big window, like how happy I was just
Mm.
just to be in a room where the sun can shine on my head. You know what I mean? I remember I cried.
Mm. I remember.
Just
I remember. No, go ahead. What you were saying that you cried about what?
yeah, just to feel the heat of the sun
Mm.
on my head. It was amazing. It
I
was
remember.
amazing.
I remember on the time I talked to you and you told me about the story. I asked you about the first moment where you stood up and how emotional that was for you. What
Yeah.
was? Take us to that moment again, and then I got another question after that.
Well, I even if you can't do things, your mind is telling you that you still can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're so used to doing certain things. Like I was telling my doctors, with my nurses, to just stand me up. I said, if I stand up, I believe I'll be able, because you can't understand how I can't move. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So, They says, Mr. Wescott, you would just fall down. I said, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. So one day they put me in this thing that like surrounds me. It was using it as my legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up, and this real strong dude came and picked me up and stood me up for the first time. And when and now I wasn't going to fall, but the feeling of not being able to walk and move at all was devastating. Heartbroken.
Mm.
I kept, like, he was like, can you pick up your foot? Couldn't. Can you move your
Mm.
toe? I couldn't.
Mm.
And I must have been in depression for about 2 days. I was like, this is it.
Mm.
It's over. It's over. But if I mean, I didn't know because I felt so much pain all the time. It should have told me that I can get better because of the
Mm.
pain.
That you healing.
Right. I had constant pain. So I thought it was the worst thing in the world, but actually that was the blessing. The pain.
Take me to the moment where hold up. I think echoing a little bit of something. Take me to the moment where your family walks in and see you in person, realizing that you still here.
Now, listen to this. Listen,
Take me
no,
to that
no,
moment, bro.
listen to this. That's why I say we need to have a documentary or a movie about COVID because my family never saw me. They
That's
wasn't allowed
crazy.
in
Why?
because of the virus. So I never ever
Wow.
saw my family.
So
Never.
once they found out that you was still alive, you still couldn't see them?
Nah. I didn't see my family until April.
And how long ago was that from the time when they
From
realized you
November.
survived to April?
Yeah.
So you going through this rehabilitation and you trying to get better and you still can't see them?
Nah. One thing I was in 3 hospitals. The third one they put me in a and this goes to family advocating for you. Da da da
Mm-hmm.
da da da.
Mm-hmm.
They put me in a room that's on the first floor. So people, my friends and family, this is the first time they saw me. They would come and look at me through a window.
Wow.
So I would I couldn't walk or anything at that time. So when they would come, I would call on my cell phone, and they would have their cell phone, and that's how we talk.
Wow.
Yeah, that was because I had friends and stuff that was coming up,
So
and it
what
was
happened?
cold.
Uh-huh.
It was cold, so that was a difficult thing. It was snowing days, and
Uh,
people
So
coming
what
up to see me.
happens if your family doesn't advocate for you?
Yo, I've seen a lot of people, man, that had it tough. They had it tough, man, by themselves all the time. I mean, at that time, um, like the way that they treated you were different in the hospitals because they ain't have like if they tell you to do something, they just want you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's no bad bedside manner or anything like that. This is what you have to do. Plus, they had on full outfits.
Mm.
So it was so you like
It wasn't even
what?
personable.
Not a little bit, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't even actually you didn't really know who you were dealing with because they had on 2 masks,
That's
a
what I'm
thing
saying.
over their head, all kinds. I mean, you ain't have a clue of who the people were.
What does that do to you being isolated like that, already going through what you're going through, the thoughts and the fears and this and that, but just the isolation, knowing that you can't see your family in these situations, what does that do to your mental health, and how much help did you had to get on that aspect of your mental health alone, of just the fact of being treated like that, like, or did the other situation was so big that it overrode it?
And this is what I tell a lot of people. Um, when I talk about my father was a tough dude, man. He
Mm.
was tough from Eastville, Virginia. He woke up every day and worked his ass off. You know what I mean? Came home and never ever complained. My father never complained. And I thought about him often. What would he tell me to do? And he would always tell me, listen, just work it out the best way you can. Just do whatever you can do, just do it and do it the absolute best that you can do
Mm.
it, you know? So that's when I started adopting the 1% better.
Mm. Tell me about that, brother.
And because I couldn't move anything. So I'm looking for anything, anything. So one day we were on the phone, and my family every morning, twice a day, morning and night, we would have a Zoom.
That's
Early in
dope.
the morning, my sister-in-law, she ran like a prayer situation.
Yeah, prayer
But I
calls.
had
Yeah.
a lot of other people that were just communicating with me.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, once at night. So um I said one day, I says, listen, I got a surprise for you guys. And it was like, what? I was like, listen, I says, I put the I had this and I put this down to my hand and I showed him that I can move my finger.
Mm.
So I said, listen, if I can move my finger, one day I'm gonna move my hand. And
Mm.
if I can move my hands, one day I'm gonna move my arms. I says, and so on and so on and so on. So I'm going to get better. Says I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know how much better I'm gonna get, but I know I'm gonna get better. And every day I have nothing but time. I'm gonna work every day to do something that I couldn't do yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I started doing. And one day I says, listen, I would show them, listen, I got a surprise for you guys. I put my hand up to my face.
Wow.
And my family crying and stuff because they know how hard I'm actually
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
And it went from hands to being able to move my torso. I mean, it was tough and grueling, but it was a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because it brought, for one, my family. We've never communicated like that.
Look
You
at the
know?
Most High. Look at the Most High, bro.
Yeah. So in the midst of all this supposedly tragedy, man, you can if you choose to look at it, man, the blessings are everywhere in front of your face. You
All
know what I
praise.
mean? It's just
100%.
different.
100%.
And like I was telling Byron, I says, listen, this is the hardest part. You need to forget who you were. That person is gone.
Mm.
I says, I remember I looked and said, I was looking in my iPad and I says, the old Rodney is gone. I
Mm.
am never, ever going to be that person again. Never. But I can be better in different ways.
Mm.
I have to embrace other things. So I embraced the motto of 1% better first, and the whole Mambo movement, with
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
My family put Kobe Bryant pictures all over my room,
Mm.
and quotes and sayings, because we worked out twice. And I was always so impressed about how he went about his business.
100%. Everybody talk about that.
Yeah, so my family told the doctors, listen, put these all when he wakes up. I want him to see these things. And that's what I started doing, man. That's what I started doing.
Take me to
And
the. Oh, go ahead.
and I always like to say, and today, because I count the days just like I'm in prison or something. This is day number 1834.
Mm.
And yo, I've been getting better every day.
Now
Every
take
day.
take me to the magical moment of when you took that first step.
What was going on was I had so much time. Once I started getting better, it was a lot faster, you
Mm.
know. So when I got some strength in my arms, I started sitting up. So I would push the bed all the way up. And I says, you know what? I gotta stand. I says, I gotta stand. So what I would do was raise the bed all the way up real high because I couldn't bend my legs. Swing my legs. They gave me this like string so I can pull my legs. That's how they were teaching me to get out the bed because they were trying to get me ready for me to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So pull, swing my legs, and once my legs went down and they touched the floor one day, I was by myself at night, and I felt it. I felt it on my feet. The time before I couldn't feel anything.
Mm.
It was painful, but I felt it. So I says, I'm gonna start working on this. So every night when the doctors would leave, I would work on yo, it's crazy. Right? So I started, what I did was I would slide off the bed, and I had the controls. Slide off the bed, and once my feet touched the ground, I would make the bed higher so I can just lean on the bed while I was standing up. So after a while, I was getting a little comfortable with that, you know. So I asked them to get me some aids, some walking aids, and I would tell them to put it by the bed. They had no idea what I was doing. And at night, I would get in the walker and just stand there. And one day, I moved my foot,
Mm.
and I was like, "Yo, now I've spent from November to March in a room,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I says I'm gonna get to the door. Yo, I walked to the door. It was like a 10-mile run. I was sweating like crazy. Yo, and scared, because I
Mhm.
thought maybe I may fall or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so I called my wife. I said, listen, I want everybody to get together. So everybody called on the Zoom, da da da. And actually, this was the first video that I had. I used to put it
Mhm.
up, and I says, listen, I just want you guys to know that I'm not just sitting here. I says, I am getting better every day. So I says, I want to show you something. Stood, raised the bed all the way up, stood, and started walking around. Oh, that was unbelievable.
Wow. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable day. And that was the beginning, man. That was the beginning. I was so hyped after that. And I was ready, man. I was ready. And I was happy at where I
Mm-hmm.
was. No matter what I was missing, I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy with what I had. I wasn't even thinking about what I had before because I had forgot that person. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So these things are brand new. They're brand new. And I'm challenging myself in totally different ways that I never thought that I can do. You know what I mean? So I let that perspective rule my world.
What?
If I feel a little uncomfortable
Mhm.
about something, that means I have to go harder. And it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful, beautiful.
You
You know.
accomplish many feats out there, especially once your story started spreading. Give us like a checklist on different things that you wanted to do, and like how did it feel when you got each one done? In terms of like, I know you wanted to walk in like a marathon walk thing, or like a walk that y'all created. I think you rang that bell or something, the bell thing in Philly. Like, take me through those different things, man.
What had happened was, um, I was talking to the doctors one day, and if you're in the hospital, you realize Rocky comes on every week.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere Rocky is on. So they were talking about my prospects and stuff, and Rocky was on. So I
Mm-hmm.
says, listen, I said, I don't know about y'all, but by next year, this time, I'm gonna go up those steps.
Mm.
And my doctor was like, listen, just calm down and just because they thought it would take where I am today, it would take 10 years to get there.
Wow.
And I says, that's my dream. I says, that's my dream. I want to walk up the Rocky steps and hold my hands up at the top of the Rocky steps. So that's what I was preparing for as I was in there, trying to go up steps because that was actually the hardest thing for me to do. That's why I said the Rocky steps because I had so much bone growth in my pelvic region that I couldn't lift my feet up, my leg up. So until they cut, and at that time they didn't cut it out yet. So I got out, and you saw the video. Got out, and the day after, it was on a Saturday. 2 days after, me and my wife went down to the Rocky Steps, and we took the walker, and that's the video that I had. I don't know if you've seen that. I had two canes in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and we got up like I think it was the first 4 steps. So I says, how many steps are up there? Somebody said 72. So I said, shoo, this is gonna be something. But again, support. You know what I mean? My wife is a trooper, man. My wife is a trooper. I
A
mean, the
hundred
things
percent, bro. A
that
hundred
she had
percent.
to, the things
Definitely.
she had to do for me.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I didn't come home earlier is because I couldn't even go to the bathroom for myself. You know what I mean? So she would have had to do that, pick me up, wash me up
Mm-hmm.
every day. And those are the little things that people don't see that are very, very tough to adjust to. Your independence, and those are the things that she was willing to do. You know what I mean? and support me on everything that, that I wanted to do. Every little thing that it seemed, I know she looked at it and says, this guy, he can't do that. You know what I mean? But she would support me, man. She would support me. And that was what got me across, man. On a lot of days that I ain't feel like doing, certain things. And she pushed me. She pushed me every day. It was something different. So I don't know where I would be without her,
100%.
because this was every day. She ain't have no time off. This is
That's
every
love,
day
bro.
morning. She actually, because I fixed my downstairs. It's like a bedroom. So she stopped going up to the
That's love,
bedroom,
bro.
and she slept on the couch for about 6 months.
That's love, bro.
Yeah, that's love.
Take me to like last time we talked, then you life went on. And from then to the present now, what has been some of the pluses and setbacks that you've been going through, man?
Well, the tough part for me is, I was living a certain way before that. I was comfortable. You know what I mean? I was comfortable. I had a business, a thriving business, that made our lifestyle comfortable. Not rich or anything like that, but we were very comfortable. And I went from that, making the money that I was making, to nothing.
Mm.
Absolutely nothing. I wasn't able to get like Social Security or anything like that
Mm.
because I had a property in my name. The property wasn't making me any money, but it was in my name. So the Social Security office and stuff like that says, no, you're ineligible. So for the past 5 years, I didn't earn 1 cent, not 1 cent. So with that, you make adjustments. You have to make adjustments. You know what I mean? And you have a certain level of guilt because, like, my wife does so much for me. I don't want her to, you know, I don't want to be struggling. You know what I mean? But that's where we were. You know what I mean? We had to live differently.
How did your pride as a man get past that?
Again, I mean, my wife was so supportive and, don't worry about it and we're going to get there. And she convinced me that we were going to get there. You know what I mean? One day we're going to get there. Don't worry about it. And one of the good things is, um, one of the disciplines my father always taught me was saving.
Mm.
So I always saved my money, always. So I saved a lot of money, but who wants to spend all the money that I've been saving for the last whatever years is depleted. You know what I mean? Because it ain't nothing coming in now. But
Mhm.
that's what we had to deal with.
Mm.
That's what we had to deal with. And that was tough. That was tough. Um, Day to day to have to deal with that and not being able to do, because you move differently
Mhm.
when you don't have um financial security. You just
Mhm.
move differently. Like I may she may say, let's go to, because we were actually in the process of traveling the world, right?
Wow.
So we were just, all right, let's go here. We would sometimes just go to London for the weekend. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And those things can't happen now.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And yeah, that that made me feel bad because I thought that we were going to live a certain way for the rest of our lives at that point.
Mm.
But we did. And it's, what do you make of it?
Mm.
You know what I mean? I do believe that this happened for a reason.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's up to me to bring out the positive instead of dwelling on the negative. So,
100%.
like, my friends don't even, like, my friends, they don't even know that I struggle.
Mm.
They don't even know. You know what I mean? Because I, that's just something that I says, let's just do what we need to do and we'll get it all back. You know, it's only money.
Facts.
And plus, coming from where I was, um, when I was clinging on life, I didn't think 1 second about money. Not
Mm.
1 second. I didn't even think about it. When you're at death's door, you think about time, you think about family, you think about love. You don't think about money and material things and what people say, and you don't think about it because those things aren't really important.
Did that during that time, did it draw you and her closer to God?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I was I'm gonna tell you a short story that assured me of the presence of God. When they, and I have a million stories in my
Mm-hmm.
whole, you know, in my whole troll of things that happened to me. When they told me, for the most part, that I was going to die, I went into a depression. I wouldn't answer the phone for anybody, my wife, nobody, because, like I was telling you, I wanted to present myself in a certain way. I'm the head of my household, so I didn't want them to see me out of whack. You know what I mean? Because I felt that they're going to see me like that forever. You know what I mean? So I told my nurses and all, listen, I don't want to accept any calls. Somebody called. I said, didn't I tell you I didn't want any calls? So a phone call came and it said, Pastor Calvin Jones.
Mm.
And I looked at it and I answered it. Pastor Calvin Jones is a pastor that he was the pastor of my grandfather's church in Virginia, Kipter Peak, Virginia. Small church, but we developed a friendship. So he heard what happened. He heard what was going on, and he called me. So I picked up the phone and we talked. I was actually calling him, I mean, talking to him because I wanted to let him know I want him to do my funeral.
Mm.
And we were talking, and I was telling him about the questions I have about faith. And he assured me that um, that God sees all. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And God didn't put you in this situation for nothing, for no reason at all.
Wow.
And he he put it in layman's term where I understood exactly. And we prayed. He says, "Listen, when you talk to God, you don't have to talk to him like you hear in churches and stuff like that. That's for just you talk to him just like you talk to him, like you talking to me." He says, "It ain't no special way to
Mm.
talk to God." And what he did for me was he, for one, calmed me down. He made he made me feel so much better. I
Oh,
didn't
praise God.
worry from that point. I never worried about dying. I never worried about it.
All praises.
You know
Now
what I
let's
mean?
yeah. Now let's get to the purpose. You you put together a mean like social media uh presentations and stuff like that. Like you real good at that. When I saw you like on the TikTok and then Facebook, like I don't know if you really took the time to put these things together, but like how did you like how did you like formulate all of those things and what was it like the first time you shared your story with somebody in it and you saw that it hit? Like I did it before, so I know you know what I'm talking about. Like when you
Well,
looking
it
at their
actually
face
started.
and it hit.
It, it started in the hospital when I was in the rehab.
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to people
Mm-hmm.
because I saw that people were hurting. You know what I mean, for different reasons, and they would actually ask me to talk to people that were down in the hospital, like they couldn't walk or they couldn't breathe or something like that, and to try to bring out the positives and for them to work, work at getting out of it. And that's what I started doing as I was in the hospital. I would look at people when I would walk in and they would just light up. It was just like I was coaching them, you know?
Mm.
And
Facts.
they says, they were like, he's worse than everybody in here, but he comes down here with a smile every day and outworks everybody.
Wow.
And people started noticing that. And I would get guys together and we would talk about how we feel, you know what I mean, as men. And the meetings were unbelievable, man.
All
Unbelievable.
praises, brother.
And there was a lot of people that were hurting. So when I got out the hospital, it was on the news. So when I got home, it was two phone calls that I got. One, I know you met him before, but he was a coach. He was he was helping out cueing them,
Uh-huh.
right? His name is Eric Hughes.
Okay.
I hope his family don't mind me mentioning his name. Eric Hughes called me the day that I got out because it was on the news and all, and he was telling me how much I inspired him, and keep going on and on and on. And at that point, I mean, it was all about me. So
Mm.
that's the way I thought of it. Well, 3 weeks later, he died, and he had cancer, and he knew he
Mm.
was dying.
Mm.
So his phone call was all about me. You know what I mean? He was going through hell, but his intentions that day was to uplift me. And I was floored. But I started doing that with people myself.
So
You know?
God used him to let you see
Yeah.
the
So
selfless act. And then you
exactly.
said, this is how I gotta carry this now.
Exactly. Because people were
Mm.
perceiving me as something that I didn't see in myself,
Wow.
an inspiration. It
Mm-hmm.
was this guy that called, I forgot his name. And he had said that, listen, I saw you on the news. And he called my phone.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I had COVID too. And what he was going through, he says, man, if you can do it, he says, I've been depressed. And he was home. He says, you know what? I'll never say a bad thing again.
Mm.
And my social media started growing.
Mm-hmm.
People were, people were reaching out to me, inspired by what they see. So I started telling them my journey. And actually, it made me feel better also.
Facts. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It made me feel better. The more you release it out, it makes you feel better. It,
Mm-hmm.
it really does.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people responded favorably and was inspired. So I started doing it. And, I went from 200 to almost 20,000, you know. And I said, if I can help somebody, that's my purpose. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
That's that.
How do it feel when if you experienced this yet? Like you saw somebody in the beginning and you gave them inspiration, and then you seen them as time passed and they got better and they come back to you. Like
I, I
take me to that moment, bro. Like cause I deal with that a lot in recovery and stuff. Like take me to that moment of like how that feels, man.
I was when I came home, I started looking for stories of people that was dealing with COVID. So I ran into this young lady that she was young. She got COVID. She was a stewardess, a flight attendant. I keep saying stewardess. That's just telling my age. But but she was a flight attendant. She was only 27, 28 years old. Got COVID. She was in the islands. They brought her back home. I thought I had it bad. And I said to myself, I thought I had it bad. And look what happened with her. She got on the ECMO machine and her they had to cut both her feet and her arms off. And I just felt so bad for her. So I wanted to help her in some way. So myself and my wife went over, tried to wrap some support around her, and just to tell her. And it's hard to tell her, listen, leave that person behind. She's only
Mhm.
she's only in her late 20s.
Mhm.
My life, I got kids. I didn't live my life for the most part,
Mhm.
but that was hard. That was hard, but she's made so much in terms of improvements, man. And
Mm.
she's been embracing what she has. I mean, she's starting to walk with prosthesis, and her hand. She has the the hand, and I mean, I look at her videos all the time. And I said, man, if I had a little bit to do with that, I mean, that's special.
Oh, praise to the
That's
Most High,
that's
man.
special, man. That's
And I
special.
want to thank you for uh reaching out to my brother, man. When I called you about my brother, you know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt, no
Said
doubt.
that my brother needs you, man. Like, and he told me like how much you inspired them. You know what I'm saying? Like to that he got some hope with getting better.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Some hope with getting better. So let's
Man,
talk about.
it's a
Go ahead.
lot of people that's struggling, and sometimes you just need to hear a word.
Facts.
You know
Facts.
what I mean? Sometimes it's just the
Facts.
littlest of things that get you over, and
Facts.
hopefully, I can do that for somebody.
Facts. So in closing, let's talk about the future, man. When is the book coming out, man? Because I just finished mine. I'm working on mine now. We doing the editing. I finished writing the whole thing, but now we in the editing process, going back and forth. when this book coming out, bro? Because you
It's
gotta write about this, bro.
yo, Jeff Arnold actually.
Okay.
Now you know I had that guest therapist. You ever see the
Uh-huh.
guest therapist thing I had? So Jeff, he came and walked with me, and he was like, "Rod, Jeff Arnold." He was like, "Rod, man, you need to do a book."
You got to.
He said, "You need to do a book." So he convinced me, and
Uh-huh.
I've been talking to some people about, because I'm intimidated because, for one, I'm a terrible writer, and for two, it's just something that I've never done before. But what this has charged me to do is to do things that I was uncomfortable with doing.
Fact.
Like,
Facts.
because like public speaking was really uncomfortable for me.
Uh-huh.
Very.
Uh-huh.
And I said, you know what? I'm gonna conquer this. And I conquered it. And I'm going to the book. I'm gonna write a book.
I'm gonna send you the contact of the people that's working with me doing mine. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
I basically wrote the everything down that I thought I wanted, and then she goes in and she rewrites it to make it sound good. You get what
Book
I'm saying?
ready.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that kind
What
of thing.
readers
So
wanna yeah.
yeah. So like, and the price was decent. Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm gonna send you her contact. You can hit her up, and then I let her know how amazing your story is,
But what
and
I did do
okay,
was I I because it's been a while I couldn't really write
uh-huh,
or anything because my fingers was all messed up.
yeah,
And I would put it on audio.
mm-hmm.
I got hours of conversations with myself and stuff like that.
Wow,
And
wow,
one of the reasons that
mhm.
I started doing the videos was because I wanted to document everything in
That
almost
was
real
smart.
time. You know what
That
I
was
mean?
smart. That
So
was smart.
everything I can actually pull from a time. You know
That
what
was
I
smart.
mean?
Cause you might could
So
get some joint to be on Netflix or Amazon, bro.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
was smart.
Because
That was smart.
I got a friend that's a producer and director,
Uh-huh.
and we talked about it. And I says, let me deal with the book first. You know what I mean? Let me deal with the book and see if that can be attractive enough or whatever, and then we'll go to that.
You will. You was the. I always give you credit for this, bro. You was the first online dude that I seen have people registered online. I was still running around getting checks, chasing checks at Basketball Spotlight. You was like, nah, Mike, I just sit in the house and wait for that email. That joint be like, ching, ching.
Ching ching all night long. I wake up and say, yo, it's $10,000 in here.
I remember you telling me that, like, you still hustling too hard. Just get this online thing, and they just gonna send you the money. You ain't gotta go. You was definitely the first dude that I knew that had online, man. Yo, Rob, man, I want to thank you, man, for coming on again, man, and sharing your from pain to purpose, bro, is definitely gonna touch somebody out there. Most high willing, and I also want to thank you again for being a good dude and really going hard for your purpose and really reaching out for my boy, man, because we grew up together, man, and I want him to be able to have this conversation with me like you having right now. You get what I'm
He
saying?
will. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and I'm
will.
inspiring him to do that too, man. So I want to
Yeah, he
thank you for
will.
your time, man, and tell your wife for thanks for lending you to us for an hour, bro.
For sure. For sure. And yo, hey, anytime, man. I like I said, this is therapy for me also, man.
Always,
I
man.
love to put it out in the atmosphere because I mean we still have our moments. You know what I
Mm-hmm,
mean?
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
definitely have my moments where I it's tough. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? But we move on. We've
All
learned
facts, brother.
it's not how you fall, it's how you get up. You
Facts,
know what I
man.
mean? And I've been getting up. And I pride myself in getting up and not staying down. So and I appreciate, you letting me express that to the masses, and we just go from there.
All right, man. Keep pumping the videos and I'll keep sharing them, bro. I appreciate it, brother.
All right. Talk to you.
All right. Talk to you, brother. Yeah, man, it was Rob for a good night, man. That was a good story, man. He gave us the update of where he at now, what's going on with him, man. Always a great story, man. So let's tune in next week for you guys from Pain to Purpose podcast. I have another special guest. I'm supposed to have Trey Lowe on Sunday, so which probably is gonna happen with the storm thing coming on. So we both might be trapped in our respective places, which would be good to do a podcast. I might plan a couple more to take up that time of being snowed in if that happens. So um stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of your night. Brothers and sisters, shalom.